I've been coaching independent restaurant owners since 2003, and I can tell you that with 100% certainty that what almost every restaurant owner wants to know is how you can control your food costs. It doesn't matter if you're brand new to the restaurant business or you're a seasoned veteran. Food cost challenges present themselves all the time. Think about it. Every time a food purveyor drops off food at your back door, every invoice has at least one, two, three, half a dozen prices that have gone up. Like, what are you supposed to do when you sit there and see your costs rising right in front of your eyes? How about your sales rep, your broadline distributor, your good friend who walks in on a quarterly basis and tells you about the natural disaster? Oh, remember the hurricanes that hit Florida? Well, they wiped out the citrus crops. So you're going to have this new commodity product, your oranges, your limes, your grapefruits, go through the roof as there's a shortage of product and the price goes up. Like every quarter, there's some commodity product that is tied to some natural disaster, a shortage in product, and an increase in price. They're telling you it's coming down the pike. How about this? Holy cow, why is my order so high? Like you look at your final order and go, holy crap, how could I be spending so much money? Like nobody looks to see if there's a problem in the restaurant. We just look, man, my vendor, my purveyor, my distributor, they're screwing me. Something's wrong. Look at this. Now, not to mention, when you look at your profit and loss statement and you gasp at a high food cost percentage. Now, that's if you're doing your food cost properly. Like, are we taking inventories or are we just taking purchases divided by sales, which is not your food cost? It requires the formula of beginning inventory plus purchases minus ending gives us use divided by sales. That gives our food cost percentage. So if we're not taking inventory, we really don't know what left the shelves. I'll come back to this in a moment. What if I told you that while food prices are certainly having a negative impact, right? As the food prices go up, it's having a negative impact on your bottom line. The truth is the majority of the issues of high food costs are self-inflicted. Let me explain. Did you know that most restaurants operate 7 to 9 points above their ideal food cost? Now, if you've been following for any length of time, you should know that with recipe costing cards, your product mix from your point of sale system, what your customers actually purchase, we can come up with what your ideal food cost is. Something not some national average of 34% that was just pulled out of the air because you're not average. Maybe you're a pizza pasta place and should be in the low 20s, or you're a steakhouse and you could be in the high 30s and still make money. We're not going to grab onto a national average of 34%. That's not going to work. What we need to know is what your food cost should be based off accurate, up-to-date recipe costing cards, what your customers actually purchase. And by putting this together, we're going to have items that have a small food cost, 5, 6% of these hand-cut French fries you make. But you also have these anchor appetizers out of a box into a fryer, and they have a 38% food cost. But ultimately, based on what your customers order, something called a weighted average, your menu mix, we're going to discover your ideal food cost should be 30%. Maybe it's 22, maybe it's 32. Doesn't matter. What is your food cost based on your menu and your operation? So with that said, if it's 30%, did you know that a typical restaurant runs 7 to 9 points above that number? So is that all the distributor? No, but I'll get to that. Oh, there's this stuff called waste and spoilage. Waste and spoilage. That means every time you order too many tomatoes, you throw them away because, well, they're bad. That's usage. That's product that left the shelves, money you didn't get for it. What about waste? That when Lurch is on the line and uses his hand to put what you think is supposed to be 6 ounces of French fries on a plate, but 8 or 9 goes on the plate every single time, you're wasting product. It's when that server says, hey, can I need to get some dressing. And you say, just go into the cooler, grab it. And they pour 4 ounces of dressing into a portion cup instead of a 2-ounce portion cup and filling it up. For every 2 ounces extra that's going out is money out of your back pocket. So over portioning, throwing away product because you butchered it improperly, right? You're not getting the right yields, or you're throwing away product because it's spoiled. Doesn't matter. Product that you're wasting, that spoils, increases your use. I want you to think about this. Do you remember that 30% ideal food cost we came up with? Well, we used as a theory, right? Well, I said a typical restaurant runs 7 to 9 points above ideal. But look at this. Beyond anything else, one thing alone can make a huge difference. Do you know that if your staff overportions by 10%, so if I were a Mexican food restaurant, could you see 10% more shredded cheese on a plate? No. Could you see 10% more shredded beef? No. Could you see 10% more sauce? No. Could you see 10% more chips? No. Beans? No. Rice? No. So if your eye can't see 10% more, being overportioned 10%, and it goes out dish after dish after dish, you take that 30% ideal food cost and you now make it 33%. So on $1 million business, that's a lot of money. If you're 2 million, 3 million, and so on, this can break your bank, for lack of a better term. What about theft? Well, I know you don't have any thieves. Whatever. It happens from the restaurant business. This is going to be very important about culture. And you might say, hey, David, I've got security cameras. Well, I love security cameras. I really do. But they're great for acts of violence, theft, harassment, burglaries. They're after the fact that you're going to watch a video. It's already happened. What I want is systems in place to control or prevent theft and managers inspecting those systems. But if you have product go out your back door that wasn't paid for by your guest, instead it was paid for by you, then your food cost is going to go up. What about the owner? You, the owner, taking tax advantage of your business. I would. That's where you say, yeah, I'm going to have a barbecue this weekend. You pull up your truck and you say, take a keg of beer, you take bottles of vodka and bottles of whiskey, and you get ribs and hot dogs and buns and burgers and fries, and you help yourself like it's your own grocery store. Well, I would do that. Absolutely. But if you don't put it on a waste sheet and understand that you're kind of taking that as a benefit of your business, your food cost is going to look high because that product disappears and no money came in for it. Trust me, your kitchen manager, your chef is going to want credit for that, meaning you took product, my food cost is high, but it's not my fault. What about, the price of your food purchase is going up? Well, we already went over that. That is a factor. When we were in the pandemic and chicken wings from $70 a case to $160 a case, that has a major impact on your bottom line. Now, that was a freak of nature event. But as we know today, our food costs keep going up because there's always a freak of nature event, if you will. And so it is your broadline distributor, all of your vendors, they do have an impact on your bottom line. But again, let's be very clear. See, the food cost formula is beginning inventory plus purchases. That's the inventory you took at the end of last period. Hopefully that's on a weekly basis, could be on a monthly basis. Let's now assume it's a weekly basis. So Sunday night, you're a Monday through Sunday work week. You close Sunday night. You take your inventory Sunday night. What's the value of the product of everything on my shelves? That's components to dishes, soups, side dishes, sauces, desserts that I make. Those would be my batch recipes, plus all the products I purchase from all my vendors. Well, that's my beginning inventory, plus all the purchases. So every invoice that comes through the door, whether paid for or not, it's an expense that day, and only the food portion of those invoices. So I take my beginning inventory plus purchases. That gives me what I could use. That's my total product available. I subtract from that my ending inventory at the end of the week, the end of that next Sunday. And by doing so, I'm going to find out how much product actually left the shelves for the money that's come in, right? So whatever left the shelves, does not matter if it was sold, stolen, wasted, spoiled. We'll talk about that again in just a second. Its use is use, meaning it's gone. Use again is you sell it. Use again is wasted, spoiled. Use again is stolen. Use again is you taking product out of the kitchen. See, the math of it, the arithmetic, if you will, is blind. It just knows that you started this with this much product, you purchased this much, you ended with this much, and the difference of that is what you used. It has no idea if it was stolen, whether it was wasted, spoiled, or you sold it, or you took it out the back door. Now, you can see very quickly how your food cost, if the equation is use divided by sales, if your use goes up because of theft, your use goes up because you're overportioning. Use goes up because you threw away product. Use goes up because you took it out the back door. anything other than selling it, you can quickly see how that could increase your food cost percentage and the dollars you use. So many of the practices that we do in our internally are a factor. Now, again, use your food sales, your use, the product that left the shelves divided by your food sales gives you your food cost percentage. So if I had to come up with a 30% food cost, that means for every dollar that comes in, I used 30 cents in food product. Hopefully I sold it, but I could have stolen, wasted, spoiled, took it out the back door myself. So while many get upset at well, the price of cheese has gone up 15 cents on a pound, and you want to just yell at your distributor, what are you doing to me? How you operate your kitchen has more to do with why your food cost is high, not your distributor. Now make sure you watch the next video where I teach you exactly what you need to do to lower your food costs.